Hello, friend. This is Ryan Hicks of TalkToProfit.com, and today I want to talk about how the key to confidence is not preparation. I've heard people say many times that, the key to confidence is preparation, but it's not true. I've known people prepared for a lot of things and they still fail to see what's actually going on around them, and they don't get good results because part of preparation in many people's minds is a state of fear. They're preparing because they're terrified of what could happen if everything's not under their control, if they haven't micromanaged everything, if they haven't figured out every possible contingency and every plan that could possibly happen, anything could go possibly wrong, they haven't figured it all out, something bad's going to happen to them. And yet many times those same people with all the preparation in the world still have bad experiences because you can't operate from a place of fear, which is what most people preparing are doing, and get good results. You see this among people who are called preppers. This is obviously different than what I'm talking about preparation in business and life, but it's very similar because they're terrified of either doomsday scenarios or this is going to happen or some currency collapse or whatever it may be. There's all kinds of things that they imagine that's going to happen, but in most cases they just waste their time, fritter their life away, being afraid, being in terror, planning for things that never happen. Or if they do happen, it shows they really weren't prepared and they get decimated in the process. You need to be operating by faith in God. Faith in God is not operating in fear. You cannot be in fear and faith at the same time. If you're in fear, out of the faith completely. Now, understand, I'm not telling you to not prepare. Of course, you plan out things. You see where things are going in the market. You see where, business over here is a little lacking. Let's improve this direction. There's always things you can do to do better and improve your business. But it can never be from a place of fear. It can never be because you're trying to micromanage everything that goes on in the universe. The main thing you need to prepare is your mind. That your mind is full of faith. That your mind is focused on the goodness of God, that you are truly believing and thinking from a place of only focusing on things that are lovely and good report. As long as you're in fear, as long as you're planning for this bad scenario and that bad scenario, you can't progress in the way you should. Sure, some people by just brute force alone can prepare and be afraid and accomplish some things in life. But it's despite the fears, despite all that preparation that went nowhere, time wasted preparing for things that never happened, time wasted in constantly all kinds of contingencies that were useless and not needed. The time you waste preparing all the time for this bad thing that could happen and that bad thing, what if this thing happens, what if that thing happens, all that time wasted would be better invested in your business, doing the things that are working, and improving in all areas that you can in your business, not preparing for the next bad thing that could happen. Well, there's going to be a downturn. What does that have to do with you? You should be operating by the faith of God, the very faith of God that creates your own personal economy. What the world does, what the world's afraid of, what the world's panicking about today or tomorrow has no bearing on your results. It only has a bearing on your results when you choose to believe it, when you choose to operate from the fear that they're operating in, when you choose to start speaking and decreeing and sowing doubt in other people's hearts. You step out of the faith of God and you step into the doubt of the world. You step into the fear, which is faith in the devil. And that's not the place you want to be in. So yes, seek wise counsel, prepare where you need to, but you go out and do the best you can. Preparing in this context does not mean, this bad thing could happen or some imaginary scenario. It means something simple like, I'm going to print 1,000 labels this month for my business on orders we're shipping out. I have 250 labels left. I need to order some more. I need to prepare. Let me order 2,000 more. That gives us 2 months worth of labels and maybe less because we're going to be increasing and getting more and more sales. And so that 1,000 next month might be 1,500. It does not mean you panicking and saying, they might stop making labels. I better buy 50,000 of them. You never know what could happen. Or you're always worried about, my merchant account could get shut down, so I better I better just prepare to take cash or some other option because you never know. I've known people who spent hours researching how they're going to integrate some cryptocurrency into their business payment processing because they're terrified their merchant account is going to get closed. That time could be better used in actually investing in your business, in the things that actually get you the results, get you the sales, get you the customers, get you the clients. Investing in that stuff, not what could happen someday, especially something like that, where there are plenty of options already. What are you wasting hours and days on end over something that does not apply to you at this moment? Could it apply to you someday? Of course, anything could apply to you. If you fancy enough scenarios and create enough of them in your mind, you could stumble across one of them that could happen. But does that mean you need to be focused and panicked about it and preparing for that thing that never happens? Fear always leads you in this path. Fear always leads to preparation for things that don't happen. Fear leads you to going to bed. I've heard of people going to bed at night, asleep in a panic, barely able to sleep. And they're fearing and panicking over things that haven't happened to them. They're just creating evil scenarios in their mind, expecting evil to befall them, when the scripture says that no evil shall befall me, no plague shall come nigh my dwelling. And yet they're panicking and believing for evil to befall them, in dreadful, evil doubt of the promises of God. Meanwhile, this is simply solved by following Philippians 4:8. I know I harp on that passage of scripture a lot, but I need to because there's so many people that don't follow it. Matter of fact, the vast majority of people who profess to be Christians today do not in any way follow Philippians 4:8. They just don't. And that is why I must reiterate it over and over again, because people don't follow it. And it is keeping them back from God's goodness. It is keeping them back from the best they could be living. It is keeping them back from the abundant life that Jesus came to give them. And it is simply a result of their fear, their panic, and their lack of faith in God. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of sorts. They get afraid. They're out of the faith of God. They're into fear. It gives them more things to be afraid of. And so it just keeps fulfilling itself. But you can get into the faith of God and believe God's goodness and speak and decree those things you want in life and only think about things that are lovely and of good report. And if you do that, and you do that for long enough, diligent enough, you will get the best results in life. And all the preparing in the world could not make you get the great results you're going to get if you'll just simply follow Philippians 4:8. My friend, I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.